go.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Truth podcast on the Uncensored Truth channel. I'm your brother, Oh God, sitting here with my business partners. Now I can finally, happily say, man, we just gonna go over, a little bit of the current events in the news and kind of just talk about some CEO stuff for a few minutes, not too long. We know people are very busy. Just going on what we do, man. I'm gonna start off. We can go one by one. Everybody can introduce themselves, just in case the audience is not familiar. Then we can go from there. Go ahead, brother Darren. You can start it off.
Yeah, man. Darren Marion with Retail SEO. Really, man, my company helps people get found on Google. So that's generally it. So you want to get found on Google, you need search engine optimization. That's what I do.
All right, man. Kansu, Shashmua Moon, CEO of Aboriginal Consulting Corporation. Also a venture capitalist with Aboriginal Consulting. We do a lot of business startups, financiering, financial consulting, things of that nature.
And I'm saying, man, about hip hop news. It's like, how y'all doing, man? In the building. You already know we're gonna have a dope discussion this afternoon. Gonna talk about a little bit of marijuana laws. You know what I mean? So let's get right into it. Oh God, what we got on the agenda?
Well, Brother Darren actually has, some of the stories that we want to get into today. I'm going to ask everybody that's listening, though, hit the like button. Please make sure that you share this video for us to help to get the message out before we actually get into it. And Darren, you had a few stories you wanted to, a few breaking stories concerning that you wanted to kind of, let the people know about. So we can talk about that for a minute, brother. I'll pass the mic.
Okay. You're right on. Well, the first story is with Coca Cola. Coca Cola is now, since in October, actually, Canada is going to legalize weed as a whole. And when they do that, now there's a big rush of United States companies that are all coming into Canada to try to invest in the marijuana companies. Actually, today marijuana stocks are up about 7% across the board. Some of the marijuana stocks are the Scott's Miracle Grow, which is a main one. So they target in the growers market. Then you have Coca Cola, which is, let me see, they're actually merging. They're coming on a joint venture project with, hold on, I just lost it, man. So yeah, just forgive me. Anyway, Coca Cola is going on a joint venture project with Aurora Cannabis. They're going to come up with a Coca Cola based marijuana drink in Canada. So they said it's going to have a CBD as well. They're really targeting, they're going to be targeting people who have pain. Oh yeah, man, check this out. Because of that, man, Coca-Cola stock went up 9.4%. Aurora shares went up 9.4%. So that's crazy, man, for a stock to do that in one day, just on one statement.
I got to admit, my bad, oh God, to cut you off. I got to say, it kind of bothers me. It's kind of contradictive of Coca-Cola, a brand, a soda brand that's obviously doesn't have many advantages when it comes to health, kind of intertwining in marijuana and the business, obviously for financial gain, but with a plant and with a substance that's obviously used to help and obviously used for its benefits internally. What do you think, Darren, about the use of Coca-Cola using marijuana, and is it going to give marijuana a bad name?
Well, Coca-Cola is in the beverage business. Remember, they have Dasani water. They have Dasani water, Powerade. So they're in the beverage business. So I would, I hate to feed, I just realized I was like, wait a minute, just because it's Coke, that doesn't mean that it just doesn't mean that's Coca-Cola. Now I could see how that would work. It actually would work. You have a caffeinated drink with marijuana. It's almost like the coffee or wake and bake that they have out in California, a lot of the places, from my understanding.
Yeah, that's, it's all about scalability. I mean, from a business aspect, not more so a social aspect. The scalability of Coca-Cola was designed from just the name, because they would use early on the elements of Coke that we call opium, and they did use trace elements of it. And it was done to create a scalability or the ability to expand into different kind of markets. And so those kind of products, when they create the business model, and that's why it's always important to know that even when you're starting a business, let's say you're an entrepreneur and you want to start a business, it is always important to be a business owner and an investor, not an employee or a self-employed person, because once you're self-employed, now you've created a job. So what Coca Cola is doing is just expanding its ability to perpetuate their investorship and capitalism within the soda market. That's what they're doing. And they're also expanding the ability to be scalable with PepsiCo and other companies that create the product, because those companies are going to follow suit. So this is just to maintain industry standard and competition by pushing complexity, which will create, more choices by the consumer.
Will it eventually give marijuana, though, a bad name? Will it give it a bad stigma once you start seeing these major corporations kind of start tagging along and kind of getting wind of it? Will it start giving the marijuana a bad name?
Well, marijuana's already got a horrible name, man. It's illegal.
Right, I mean, but Advil is legal.
Yeah, it's got a horrible name, man.
So we all know the reasonings and why it's got to have a bad name, and we're trying to slowly get out of it having a bad name, which you see the legalizations of now. So with the major corporations jumping on with it, will it kind of dilute the advantages of marijuana? At the end, what I'm basically trying to say is now the corporations see that this is about to be legal. There's money involved in it. Are they going to start using marijuana for the wrong reasons?
That's a good question.
Great question. That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I would, I'm looking at it to go mainstream. I want to start seeing marijuana advertisements on television, on the radio. In my lifetime, I think that's going to be really good to see, and that's something that's very feasible. That's actually can happen. So I think that the whole culture of marijuana, the counterculture of marijuana, is going to carry over, just like with coffee. Coffee, you got the coffee counterculture, then you have the Starbucks. So I think there's still going to be a nice blending of that local feel. As long as you have the local coffee shop, you're going to have that little marijuana aspect as well. So I think it's going to kind of keep it in check.
Yeah. I think that was I kind of get what Sam Matt was saying about that, because it's like when you really do the research on Coca Cola, you know what I mean? It's horrible for you. But then marijuana, has so much benefit, even though in the media and everywhere else it has a real bad name. But it's just like putting the two together. It's almost like mixing alkaline water with real acidic water. You know what I mean? It's almost like why are you messing? That's I get where Sam Matt was coming from with that. But yeah, definitely. I just wanted to add that in there. You kind of like diluting the purpose of the marijuana, because it has a lot of.
Look at it this way, kind of expand your thoughts. Like in financiering and business consulting, we look at trends, but we look at trends in the form of commodity and supply and demand. Supply and demand is always going to be the foundation of any marketable entity that can be scaled. So let's take Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick would be marijuana, okay? And then you take Nike. Nike would be Coke. Well, Nike just diluted itself with Colin Kaepernick, and the stocks went through the roof. And Colin Kaepernick would be bad in a social norm because of his political stance in the social political environment. So it is to create competition, which creates complexity. And that's one of the 7 elements of economics. When you have complexity and when you have competition, you have comparative and compatible choice. So once that happens, you're going to have a franchise boom. It's just like Subway, Quiznos, McDonald's, Burger King. The consumer is going to make a choice. The choice itself is going to make the market promotable. So that's why you want to push competition. You want the competition to be complex, meaning so complex that I can give you an iPhone 1, an iPhone 2, an iPhone 3, add just a little bit, to make it a bit more complex, but then release a new version every year. So this is just a scalable market trend that, trust me, CBD oil and marijuana is on the boom, even though it's got a bad name. Hip hop got a bad name, and it's now taking over the pop genre. So that's just to let you know how powerful scalability is.
Now, marijuana now, we see a lot of states are now beginning to make it legal. And that was a clip that we played. It was a state rep in New York who pretty much came out and she said, like, yo, we need to get these people out of jail. She said, when you look across the board, you know, not just African Americans smoke marijuana or use marijuana. Everybody's using it at the same rate. But these African Americans are being locked up more. So my question is to you, brothers, do you see when marijuana is legal, do you see people actually now being released from jail? And or, you know, them, this is a question more so for Kansu in your state. You said that it is legal in Chicago, but what kind of things do they have to still kind of like get people like tied up? You know, can you expound on that a little bit?
Sure. You have state law, you have federal law, then you have local municipalities. So your constitutional rights, which would house your constitutional laws involving marijuana, which is a federal provision, can be usurped, or it's an agreement with the state legislature as they have their own Supreme Court that creates municipal jurisdiction. So each county has its own right to adopt its own sovereign law that could prevent marijuana from being legal in their area. So we have to look at local, federal, state, and then federal. So because Congress passes a law, it does not necessarily mean it will trickle down to the locals. That's just like people saying, oh, well, you know, I don't like a certain president. Well, you don't elect the president anyway. The Electoral College does. It's just a popular vote to understand how Congress can interpret the law. That's like the misconception of the Constitution says that black people are only 3/5 of a man. They was not saying that. Not 3/5 of a human being. Their votes were 3/5 because they were housed as marketable commodity. That's been transferred into UCC Chapter 10, which goes under warehousing. When someone is incarcerated, they're actually being warehoused and they're given a lot number. That's the correctional number because they are wards of the state. So they're transferred into a commodity. So when we look at those kind of things, oh God, marijuana will be legal, but there's always going to be some type of opposition because of your municipal entities, because that's where the political or social aspects need to be addressed, is at the local municipal level.
Well, I appreciate that answer. Brother Darren, you had another topic of concern. He was finished.
Yeah, man. Africa right now. What's going on in Africa? China literally is taking over Africa through debt. Right now, they actually, the country of Zambia, they're going to lose their power company because they couldn't make debt payments to China. So China extended them another $6 billion in loans, which they can't. I mean, they're not going to be able to dig out of. And International Monetary Fund is looking at them and saying they don't want China to make them the loan, but Zambia is looking at it as, hey, we're going to take these dollars. So what's happening is slowly but surely China's colonizing Africa. You can see you're going to start to see more clashes and interactions with the Africans and Chinese because those two cultures are so different. There's going to be some serious issues going on in Africa within the next 5 to 10 years. Just watch. Even though I just saw what came across the wire that Eritrea and Ethiopia signed a peace deal, which is major. They've been in civil war for 20 or 30 years. So there's a bunch of stuff going on in Africa right now that is really going to be the hot spot of the world that we need to watch.
Is it kind of like the same thing that they did in Jamaica? Because I was in Jamaica a couple months ago and it was a heavy Asian out there, and I was shocked. I'm like, I thought I was in Jamaica. Where the fuck am I at? And I started like kind of talking to some locals, and they said, yeah, man, they're starting to buy stuff up, kind of like buying up debt like being a consolidator and then running it. Is that kind of similar to what's going on in Africa right now?
That's exactly what's going on in Africa right now. Is that like in Kenya, they're saying, hey, we're going to build you a railroad, but you got to give us these concessions. We're going to issue these debt payments, and we'll pay you down the road. They're basically giving these countries payday loans. And these countries are going to realize that they don't have the production. They don't have the manufacturing in place. They don't have really the production to be able to buy their way out of this debt, these debt instruments, the serious debt that they're getting involved into. And it's scary to watch it happen.
Yeah, definitely, man. So is it pretty much set and done, set in stone?
Yeah. With Zambia, it's pretty much set in stone. That country's pretty much gone out of Africa. To China. So when you own the country's power, that's the power grid. They can raise, prices and really squeeze people out. They can really force the hand. I see John Hamilton is in there talking about Africa and debt.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
To both you, Darren, and Brother Kansu. How is it when you see a continent like Africa, when you see an island like Jamaica with so many natural resources, you see the natural resources that come out of Africa, the diamonds, the natural resource that it takes to build cell phones. I can't really think of the names right now. How do certain countries how are they allowed to come in and just take over like that? Am I ignorant to something? Like, how does this happen? How is it so easily done?
Yeah, Consul, you want to get that one?
Yeah, it's really import export. When you have a major stake in the export business, like China does, and China technically, when it comes to technology and electronics, they're number one. They have a lot of sub production outlets that produce at such a fast rate that they can deliver, stock very quickly, and they have the capital. I mean, their capital is a natural asset-backed, commodity. Their dollar, the yen, is backed by gold. So because Africa produces gold organically, then they can do, a fair trade agreement, and that's basically what NATO spoke of, and in NAFTA, these two entities kind of make those kind of things possible.
So is this where the United States pretty much went wrong? I forget what year, maybe the 70s, when they stopped backing the currency by gold at one point. Is that where they kind of going wrong now with everything? Can you explain that a little bit too?
Well, I know in South Africa they're now actually pushing for a united African dollar. They're going after, they're saying, hey, Gaddafi had it right. We're going to push this, let's have $1, let's have a united Africa, which is better than, which is actually, it's a good thing for them if they decide to do that. That currency, they'll be able to set that currency and it really have some serious buying power, because we know for a fact that Africa's assets were backed by gold. That's the good thing about gold-backed assets, is we know there's a finite amount, so we can associate to say, all right, this bar equals this amount. So it takes away all the guesswork.
No doubt. I want to ask a question a little off. The Bitcoin. People like Akon. I was trying to find an exact quote that he said. I don't want to misquote the brother, but somebody said this, and maybe not him. He said, if you don't invest in Bitcoin within the next whatever, I forget what it was, you're pretty much a fool. I don't really know too much about Bitcoin, but I keep hearing a lot of people talk about it. Could you just give us a bit of, as fast as you can, what Bitcoin is, and should we invest in Bitcoin?
Well, I think Bitcoin is not an investment; it's a speculation, because we don't know. There's so many. It's technology based, and technology is always evolving. It's always increasing. So, computing power is always coming up. And there's Bitcoin, but then there's Ethereum now that's coming out, and Ethereum is supposed to be even a better platform than Bitcoin. It's really the technology is what's important. Is what the value in Bitcoin. And with technology always evolving, you got to think, what's going to be the new thing. And that's when I look at it as more of a speculation as opposed to investment. I think it's a matter of people knowing how to define things.
Okay. Brother Khan. Okay, I mean, I pretty much answers that. Yeah,
sorry, man.
This one person I follow, and we both follow him, Beef Entertainment. On Instagram. He's always got like Bitcoin stuff, and I see it all over Instagram. So I'm like, maybe I should look into this. But we could talk, get more behind the scenes on that. Are you any brothers in Bitcoin, Kansu?
Yeah, it's a great way to diversify a financial portfolio. If you got some real estate, if you got some mutual funds, some stocks and bonds here and there, you can diversify a portion of your money into Bitcoin. But honestly, it's the blockchain technology that is where the gold really lies. So it would behoove those of us to invest in Bitcoin mining companies and things of that nature that actually produce the entities that come from Bitcoin, from cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin technology, blockchain technology that is going to be paramount in just about everything we do. I mean, banking, sooner or later is going to be blockchain influenced just because of the way technology works. So when we add engineering and math in that particular branch of science, you're going to see that if you're going to invest in crypto, be a venture capitalist in blockchain, because then you don't have to worry about the trends of a particular coin. You're dealing with the entity itself that produces the coin. So if I was a person that wanted to purchase cryptocurrency, I'm going to look into the ability to mine it myself and not let a broker come in and middleman you to death. Now that's just
invest in the servers.
Yeah.
I had a brother named Rod Kepper. Sometimes he's in the chat room. Last time I spoke to him, he had like a machine in his house or something where he started putting, the Bitcoin thing together. So I got to talk to him, but I thought that was real dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not as mechanical as one may think. It pulls a lot of power. You got to have some serious power, literally electric power, to push the Bitcoins at a rate that you'll get a fast rate of return. We're talking about the internet. And so it is fundamentally explainable, but operationally, you need something like a 10,000-foot square warehouse to be able to house the machinery to produce a Bitcoin at a rate of at least 5 or 6 a day. You would need something like that because it's some serious technology.
In the United States, are there any warehouses currently that are doing that? Anybody know of? Or?
No, it's against the law. It would be against the law to do that.
Okay.
How does someone buy into Bitcoin? I mean, is that just as simple as that? Like, okay, God and I are interested in buying Bitcoin. How can we do that? Is that something we can go do today? Is that a process? Like, how does that work?
With blockchain, it's called a wallet. It's called a virtual wallet. Every search optimization engine has a wallet on the end of it. And Darren can back this up, because that's his specialty. You have Google Wallet. You got PayPal Wallet. It's just a term of redirection and retention. So with the blockchain, you would establish a blockchain wallet with a particular server, and that server would be a parlay to being able to skim and pull the blockchain algorithms from the actual blockchain system. And that it would convert that into a particular coin, depending upon which coins encodes are found. You have different types of Bitcoin. You have Litecoin, you have Dash. Each of them have a wallet system that's designed to pull the algorithms as the coins are generated.
Is there any, oh, my bad, God. Is there any, how does a dollar translate into Bitcoin, the American dollar? How would that translate into a Bitcoin?
This is deep. Let me say this is real. This is something that everyone that's listening, you really need to really talk to Brother Darren when we start the mentorship program, because Bitcoin is an SEO entity. It is a search engine that is centralized in conversion. So that's another term. It's conversion. So when we look at the US dollar, they have a convertible rate based on exchange. So exchange is how we gauge the conversion value of a cryptocurrency. So if I want a cryptocurrency, I have to look at the rate and how the value or the demand of it is. And so that's normally created by platforms. So it's basically a digital stock market. So each platform is pumped. So it's a term in the stock market we call pump and dump. So let's say the four of us are moguls, and each of us got 10 million bucks a piece, and we want to pump a cryptocurrency. We invest it, we create it, we create a limit so that we have scarcity, and then we pump it, and then we trade it between us four at a frenzy because we own it. We monopolize the coin. When people see the trading volume go up, they jump in and they buy. And when they buy, we sell. And as soon as we reach our quota of buying, we dump it all and take the money that we created to pump in as revenue. That's why stocks and anything like that, like Darren has said, it's a big guess. Cryptocurrencies are not a guarantee. You taking a big gamble.
Right. I think money in and of itself boils down to a calorie, to calories. So it goes back to the hunter-gatherer days where we're willing to burn out X amount of calories to trade for this particular piece of currency. So it's about how many calories are we willing to give up in order, or labor, or are we willing to trade? Because that's the only way really you can get into Bitcoin is through labor. Just through giving up certain calories of some sort, if that makes sense.
It definitely does. Search engine optimization, search engines, SEO. I've been hearing this throughout the conversation. Dan, you're the man at this. So what I'm gathering is, without an SEO, if you have an internet business, Bitcoin, today within the internet, without a proper SEO, you are pretty much just going to get thrown into the wash, thrown into the jumble, thrown into the shuffle. Talk about, Darren, the importance, without giving away too much, of an SEO, what its main premise is, what its point is, and what it does in 2018 in today's internet age. All
right. Well, right now, if you're not on the front page of Google, you're pretty much not on there. If you're gone with Google Maps, if you're not in the first 3 to 5, you might as well not be on there at all. So the importance of SEO to a small business, or to a business, or to an internet business is oh man, it goes without saying how important being able to be found is. If you have a product that you want to sell, and the only way you're going to be able to sell that product is by being found. There's so many people who have websites out there that think that just having a website is enough, and it's not. It's just a start. It's like, you're going to take a driver's test. Now you got a car to take the test with, but you still don't have all the other metrics.
Yeah, I could definitely personally, attest. It's been about a year and a month that we, partnered up with SEO, SEO, Hip Hop Uncensored, and it took the brother Darren a while. Like, he had to sell himself to me, you know what I mean? And within the first year, man, we've been he's always sending me, showing me how we're ranking, definitely on the first couple pages or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know where we're at right now, but moved us up to the top 100. Hip hop sites, in the world right now. So it definitely helps. And everywhere you look, you see, what I mean? Our name is showing up. So I'm a living testament of, SEO service, especially, it makes sense for hip hop. Any other business too, definitely.
It translates to, for not only to Google, but to your channel.
Facts.
Darren, what's the average?
Yeah, then we got, real quick, I'm not gonna be long. YouTube being second behind that, the strength of YouTube, and now the SEO. That's all I wanted to add on there, though. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, no doubt. What's the average commission? What's the average rate for SEO, a top SEO? How much does SEO charge?
Anywhere from $75 up to $175 an hour.
So it costs to be a boss. You're saying without that, your success rate with a website or even YouTube is probably pretty scary.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's like working a job. You know, it's some of the tools that you need. Like if you're going to be a mechanic, then you need to have the proper tools in order to do the job. If you're going to open a business, you need to actually pay the cost. You know, if you know, like you said, pay the cost to be the boss. If you do want to play on the internet space and in the internet space, that's something you're going to need.
Absolutely. And thus, you know, anybody listening, we do offer a mentorship program. I guess we could talk briefly, you know, about that. What we thought to do was we got Brother Consu, Brother Darren, and me and Sam Ant to combine, you know, Darren being an expert in SEO, us being, you know, experts in YouTube, and obviously Consu being an expert in financial field and other fields, combining that together. I don't know if I've seen anybody do that, you know, where people can actually sign up and have access, you know, to 4 brothers who can answer any question, you know, that you want to. Now that description, if you do want to sign up, and if you're, you know, interested, you can leave your name and email right below where you're watching us now. It's the link to sign up for that. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to, you know, do that. Definitely. Because if you think about it, just talking numbers real quick, you got how many people in the world? 9 billion or something like that. You got 1.3 billion that goes through YouTube every day. So if you do have a product and or service, why would you want to miss out on 1.3 billion people? Well, you could potentially put that in front of them. Now, what Darren, I'm going to add on to what Darren was saying with the first pages. Now, I know the statistic is how many people don't even go past, a certain amount of people never go past the first page. So it's essentially like having Mercedes-Benz on an island where nobody can find it. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful car. It's great. You got a great website, but you got to put it in front of where people can see this Mercedes-Benz and say, okay, this car drives nice. So you got to get it in front of the traffic. So that's what we're here to do. You know, please sign up right now. The link is in the description box if you want to learn more.
Definitely. Just to piggyback off of what Old Guy said, he called us YouTube experts, and that's very humbly speaking. But when you look at 2 platforms individually ran, and then you have a podcast put together, Old Guy respectfully has over 350,000 subscribers, myself 127,000 plus subscribers, all within a little over a year or 2. These are true testimonies to what we have going on and why we can consider ourselves experts. Now, Old Guy and I have lost pages. We've had pages demonetized. We've built pages back up. So when we call ourselves experts, we know what it takes for YouTube's algorithm. We know what it takes. We know what YouTube wants in order to succeed. And this is why we have such conviction in offering this YouTube mentorship program and giving you the tools and what you need to succeed. We're going to break this thing down like an onion, layer by layer, from how to title your video, properly thumbnailing your video, description boxes, you name it, it's going to be in there. And to jump that off with your SEO service, like we talked about in this conversation. And then once you build your business, get the financial advice and financial backing that you need with a brother Consu giving you the options of the SEO, the LLC, the partnership, giving you the options and the differences between all of it. It's a one-stop shop for success. And all it takes is an email. I think it's worth the risk. That's just my opinion.
Definitely. And as with anything, you know, you got to take risks, and you got to be, you know, you can't be afraid, you know, to invest in yourself. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I'm excited about more so. My thing is, it's not really about the money. It's more so about, like, my joy was seeing Sam Ant, you know, his channel growing and seeing him, you know, being able to take care of his family and stuff like that. That's my joy. I didn't make anything off the brother, but, you know, this is my cousin, so it was a beautiful thing, you know, to see that something that me and him, you know, came together on, you know, it's pretty much changing both of our lives, you know what I mean? And people around us were able to employ family members, you know. So, yeah, man, I'm forever grateful, you know, to meet the brother Darren. And, of course, I knew Consu for years. So I always, you know, respected that brother highly. You know what I mean? So definitely, man, this is gonna be real dope. I think anybody, I mean, for less than a cup of coffee a day, everybody goes to Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, man. For less than pretty much a cup of coffee a day, you can actually, you know, any question you want and get your business shot up to the top, you know, of the search engine. So if I were you, I would sign up. Not now, but right now. But that's all I got, gentlemen. That's all I wanted to impart, you know, on the people. as far as the mentorship program. Thank you, John Hamilton. Appreciate that. Social media, direct traffic.
Anybody else want to add anything before we jump up out of here? Any questions? Consu, you got anything? Any closing remarks before we get up out of here?
No, I just, I'm very appreciative of, us getting ready to, and have been breaking stereotypes. That's just an important thing for our culture. For, a true solid African culture is breaking those stereotypes. And you have 4 Black men dedicated to not only empowering others that are, watching us and joining, but our own families, so that we can actually leave a legacy and, create a system of success when we're, Black men are just categorically demoralized every single day. And it's good to see, because we all came from environments where we could have made some bad choices in life. And, fortunate for us, we didn't. And we want to be shining examples to other, Black people that, this could be done. Even, all the people in the world, we just want to be an example of, how to be progressive and conscious. Man.
I made a video last night real quick. I had to turn it on because I was thinking about this. And I asked the question, I'm like, how could we go from Egypt to being kings and queens, father of medicine, to kind of where we are now? But it made me think, it was like, you know what? It took for them to be able to build a pyramid and to get to that, they had to do what we're doing now. They had to put, and this is what Garvey was always talking about, kind of putting together, because we all got things we can argue about. Man saying, man can argue about this. Me and Brother Darren can argue. We can do that all day long, but they had to come together as a society and say, you know what? We're going to have to put our minds together and build this together, put everything to the side and get it done. And they got it done. You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of, to me, this is tantamount to, building a pyramid. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough, but we putting our minds together, and we all been successful in business. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be a great mixture, man, of success. So definitely excited. Not to go on too, much longer, but I would definitely want to hear Darren has to say. Then we can, I know brother's got stuff to do. Brother's got businesses to run.
Yeah, I like doing this, man. I like doing, kind of talking about the news, seeing, 4 guys who are all CEOs of companies, kind of getting a viewpoint. I think it's something that we should continue. And I think I really think people, people are going to love it, man. So, and that's keeping it all the way funky.
No doubt. Brother John Hamilton and everybody, what's that, lip ship something, everybody was in here. Peace to y'all. If you're interested, go ahead and sign up. The link is right down there in the description box. It will be there on any channel, Viral Hip Hop News Uncensored, or the Uncensored Truth podcast. And give it a shot, man. You won't be disappointed. But with that, that's all I got to say. Sam, man, if you got anything, Khonshu, get out of here, man.
Nah, man, you already know you're listening to the Uncensored Truth podcast. Old guy and I about to go jump on set momentarily and give y'all the best podcast going on the streets right now, the fastest and hottest rising podcast. You heard what everyone has to say. Go subscribe to the new mentorship program. You're not going to want to miss it. It costs to be a boss out there. So for anybody that has questions about the money or anything, think about the music label. They're going to take money out your pocket. Or do you want to put it and invest it and get it back 100-fold? You got the YouTube business. Do you want to sit there and be a slave to YouTube and have them take your stuff just like that without having the proper knowledge on how to, hey, you hear what I'm saying? Costs to be a boss, man. Viral Hip Hop News Uncensored, the Uncensored Truth. See y'all later.
Peace, family.